All right, today we're going to break down a technology that's looking to completely redefine identity. And I don't just mean here on Earth, we're talking across the entire solar system. It's a massive vision, right? And it starts with the very foundation of who we are. So, this is the big vision from a company called LINKSPREED LLC. Their new system is called UIID, which, get this, stands for Universal Interplanetary Identity. Yeah, one ID, all worlds. It's a simple slogan, but the ambition behind it, anything but simple. Okay, so you might be thinking, an ID for Mars? Why? Well, to really get why we might need that, we've got to look at the mess we have right here on Earth. Why on earth would a company think we need to just completely start over? All right, let's get into it. The founder, a guy named Marc Herdina, basically argues that our current systems are, well, a total mess. And when you think about it, he's got a point, right? You've got your passport, your driver's license, all your social media logins, bank accounts. They're all completely separate. They're vulnerable, and they create this mountain of paperwork and security nightmares. And this right here really lays out the core problem they're trying to solve. It's all about moving from the chaotic, fragmented system we deal with every day, the one that's super vulnerable to fraud and just wildly inefficient, to this single, unified, and supposedly forgery-proof vision for the future. The big promise here is a life that's just seamless, frictionless. So what's the big solution? What are they proposing? They call it the universal key. The idea is one single point of access for your entire life. We're talking both physical and digital. So at its heart, UIID is designed to be the one and only ID you'll ever need again. And here's the really crucial part. It's decentralized. What does that mean? It means no single government, no big corporation controls it. You do. Your identity is secured on this shared, transparent record book, you might have heard of it as a distributed ledger, that they imagine stretching across the whole solar system. And look, the ambition here is just massive. They see this thing as the key to pretty much every part of your life. I mean, from the everyday stuff like unlocking your front door, all the way to the seriously futuristic, like boarding a shuttle to Mars. They're even talking about it connecting to technologies we've only dreamed of, like a direct neural interface they're calling the mind link. Wild, right? All right, so how is this whole thing actually supposed to work? Let's try to get into the tech without getting too lost in the weeds. I mean, how can one single key manage both our public and our private lives and do it securely? Well, the whole system is built on these two really clever layers. So first, you have your one core verified root ID. That's you, that's your master identity, the single source of truth. But, and this is the genius part, from that one ID, you can generate endless anonymous aliases. Just think of them as disposable identities you can create and then just toss away. You can use them for social media, for work, for any private interaction you want. And all of it protects your main core identity. This brings up a really cool feature, privacy. Specifically, privacy and verification. So picture this. You walk into a bar. You need to prove you're over 21, but you really don't want to hand over your ID with your name, your home address, your exact birth date, all that stuff. How in the world could you do that? Well, this is where it gets interesting. UID uses something called zero-knowledge proofs. It's a type of cryptography that lets you do exactly that. It lets a system confirm a fact is true. Yep, you are over 21. Or, yep, you are a citizen or you have a certain degree, without ever revealing the sensitive data behind it. It's basically verification without the revelation. Super cool. And you gotta understand, UIID isn't just some standalone app. LINKSPREED is positioning this as the identity layer for what they're calling Web 4, their vision for the next generation of the internet. And it's also designed to work hand in glove with their own hardware, Arctic for security and Winix for connectivity. So they're building a whole closed ecosystem. Okay, so let's zoom out to the grand plan here. Let's see how all of this builds towards that big interplanetary vision. Because this isn't just about fixing the problems we already have on Earth. It's about making sure we don't even start with those problems on Mars. And this is where the founder, Marc Herdina, really makes his core argument. He's basically saying, look, we should not be exporting Earth's obsolete and error-prone administrative systems to the stars. He's calling for a total reset, a clean slate for how we handle identity before we go off building new societies on other planets. This quote right here, it perfectly lays out their strategy. They're positioning UID to be the essential software that runs on the hardware built by pioneers like Elon Musk. So the idea is, while companies like SpaceX are building the rockets to get us to Mars, UID will be the digital ID for every single person who gets on board. So you see, the ultimate goal here isn't just about fixing identity on Earth. It's much bigger than that. It's about establishing UID as the default, the gold standard, the foundational layer of society before the first permanent human settlements are even built on the Moon and Mars. They want to be there first. So, to wrap it all up, UID is being presented as this universal key to a seamless, secure, and completely borderless existence. It's the promise of ultimate freedom, of ultimate control over your own identity, no matter if you're on Earth, on Mars, or in some digital world we haven't even invented yet. And all of this leaves us with a final and pretty provocative thought. I mean, a technology that unifies every single aspect of our identity, it could be incredibly empowering, right? A true clean slate. But it also raises a really profound question. Is a single key for everything the ultimate form of freedom, or could it become the ultimate tool of control? And that really is the central question to think about.